Hey gang, I'm Ruth Ann.
I'm Chris.
And we are GeekChic Promotions. Welcome back for our second episode of Game of Theories. Yes. Very excited. We're going to try to keep this short, but so much happened in this episode.
This was an emotional one, guys. I feel like so much stuff happened that was like setting us up for lots of people to die.
Yes, a lot of feels, so they all won't die. So grab your wine. We have our special Game of Thrones wine, of course, that we've been drinking while we watch, so cheers.
Yes, cheers. All right.
Because we drink and we know things. All right, so out the gate, we just started with the trial of Jamie, basically, which was really intense.
Yes.
What we do for love.
Yes.
Jamie.
The things we do for love.
Yeah, things we do for love.
Wow.
With just, it's Bran right behind you. Like, okay. And then,
but surprisingly, it was Brienne of Tarth that stepped up.
Yeah.
And it was very emotional.
It was really emotional. And at first, I thought that Daenerys...
She changed the tide.
Yeah, and I at first I thought Daenerys, it did hit her in her core that Jamie, like, saved her from being raped and, like, da-da-da, and that's how he lost his hand. But later on, you're like, oh, no, she's just still mad that somebody stood up, like, that everybody stood up for him. And she's like, his mother, you know, like, that's when we're, like, I feel like this episode is when we're starting to see a tyrannical, like, Daenerys a little bit.
Yes.
Like, it started coming out, and, like, especially when, you know, she was calling out Tyrion for not being able to tell that her sister
She was a little bit angry this whole episode.
Yeah.
And I think, honestly, it had to do with a little bit of, like, right after the Jamie thing, Jon, like, was like, I'm out the door. Because
and I called it, that he was not, he just couldn't even look at her now that he knows that, like, he's her nephew.
All right. And here's the thing, though.
Yeah.
Okay? Like, is that the reason? Or is it because he knew that she was going to react that way about the throne?
I don't think so, and we can touch base at the end.
Circle back to that
Circle
one?
back, because I don't think he was prepared for that, because it seemed like his reaction was very, like, surprised at the end, and we'll get to that when we get there.
Mm-hmm.
But Marcus. Sorry, we're filming on Chris's phone, and so she took notes on Marcus's phone. So yeah, and like that's the moment that really hit us. I feel like both with the Brienne of Tarth standing up for him is when because it was Sansa who really made the decision of, like, would you, like, so you would vouch for him, but more importantly when she asked, would you fight beside him?
Yes.
And she was like, yes, and she's like, okay.
I feel like this was a very defining episode for Sansa as well, because not only did she, like, literally halt everything at that moment, you know, because she was like, well, decision made for me, I trust people.
Yeah.
But also when Theon came in, and, like, she was so, like, that made me tear up.
Yeah,
like,
that was really intense.
And Daenerys witnesses all of this, and she's seeing firsthand the relationships that are here at Winterfell, which are nothing that like she's got.
And that was a really fascinating scene too. I mean, like, so right after the trial of Jamie, we went straight into the us seeing Arya and our favorite little baby Pris kind of have their flirt, and the fact that she's like, let me throw these daggers, and now you're gonna make my sword. And that was the line that I really liked, was like, my weapon on it. Like, once he saw, like, how badass she was, like
I think
we got
turned
this.
him on a little bit.
Oh yeah. Oh, that was a definite flirt
was
thing. Yeah, she was definitely hitting on him, and, like, we were laughing because after the first episode, we kept sharing, obviously, gifs about the last episode together, and there's that one gif that it's like, when you saw them together in that episode, it's like, now kiss!
Yes.
Do it!
Do it.
And they...
Well, this episode fulfilled those promises, so...
Well, and then Sir Friendzone also standing up for Tyrion, which was surprising, even for Daenerys, because Daenerys was... I feel like after that, like, trial of Jamie, as I'm gonna nickname it from now on.
Where a lot of truths.
Yeah, a lot of truths came out.
this episode.
Yeah, and, like...
both Bran and with Daenerys and all of them, it was like, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just... That was incredible, and of course, like, I was like, oh, like, good for you, Jamie, like, just going right for Bran and being like, I'm really sorry for what I did.
Yeah, but is he, like, I know he's a different person now, but is he just, like, trying to get over the hump of awkwardness?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, I didn't know you survived.
I really do think that he has changed a lot, and I feel like there was a lot of that in this episode, because there was, like, that moments with him and Tyrion as well, of, like, oh, you could go back to like, being a, you know, whoremonger, like, or whatever.
And there was also that moment with him and Bran where he was just like, I'm not the fighter I used to be, but I'd
be honored
to serve, you know, under your command. And she was like, oh, let me get back to you on that.
Yeah.
Let's go over here, bye.
Like all that stuff with Tyrion also when he said to Jaime like she's your queen too, and Jaime was like just like
yeah, like
is she? Not really. Like he's really because that's where I feel like Jaime is finding his honor now is that he is fighting for the living, like, and that's what he keeps like doubling down on, and that's true. Like he is done fighting for families right now because that doesn't matter. Where everyone's gonna die. Everyone will die.
Which is like so apparent in this episode with the way everybody was bonding and everybody was telling each other exactly how they felt. Like it was literally like everyone was like, we're all gonna die, literally in hours. So let's either be sentimental with the person that means the most to us, in
or
terms
get
of
shit
like,
off of our chest,
or get shit off of our chest, or have sex, like whatever it is you're gonna do. This is the night.
Do it.
Like, no more time to waste. Like, I'm sorry, but this is it.
This is the night. What a glorious night. Yeah, no.
Right, it's true.
And Sansa was looking badass. This is our first time seeing that kind of cool armor. To me,
like the chain hanging down.
I mean, to me, and like, I might be wrong, but it is very kind of the Finger-esque. Like the cut of it. And also, didn't he have a similar type of like chain? It was much smaller though. It was much more like delicate. Maybe I'm wrong, but it felt like...
But I say, if anybody deserves to wear it, it's her. Because, like, when she was sitting down with Daenerys and,
That's the scene I was just about to talk about.
And Daenerys was like, I can't believe he did that. And she's like, well, you shouldn't have trusted Cersei either. Like, it was like...
She was speaking some
just
truths.
as much on you as it is on Tyrion. And Tyrion's a good man. And I think, at that point, Daenerys, like, saw that... She has had so much more experience. Sansa has had so much more experience than Cersei, or not Cersei.
Daenerys in a lot of ways. Yeah, in these personal like
in
stuff.
These relationships where she's just like, I know who I trust and I know who I don't.
And it wasn't very And that scene was incredible to me because it was Sansa had her basically she let her guard down and she was like, you know what? I should have thanked you the moment that you came. Mm-hmm. And then, but like the other thing I like about Sansa,
almost bonded.
Yeah, almost. And they did. They had that little joke together, like, well, men do some stupid things for women, and then like Daenerys had that thing of like, I am a world away from where I'm supposed to be, and I'm fighting your brother's war because I love him, and all that kind of stuff. But as soon as Sansa asks the tough question of what happens to the North, and even like the hand takeaway, and I'm still pretty sure, and especially like once we talk about that last final scene.
It's all been leading up to the same thing.
It's all been leading up to the same thing, and you're starting to see a little bit of the not the crazy king. What do they call her father?
She wasn't the crazy king.
No.
Was she?
Well, no, her father was though.
Oh, really?
The one that Jaime killed. But they had a name for him. It was like not. You guys will know, but so you're starting to see that. You're starting to see a little, like I said, like tyrannical, like just obsession with the power versus who should be on the throne.
And I see that like also she doesn't rule with like her like she's trusting Tyrion a little bit too much, and then she gets mad when he makes a wrong move. When she's like, I'm trusting you to make the right decision. It's like, well, you're just as much to blame.
Culpable, yeah.
Like because you're an intelligent person. But the point is that she doesn't have human relationships with anyone. Like Jon is like the only person that she has a human
connection with.
Yeah, and not even like Lord Friendzone really, because she's kept him on the out, like right there in that friend zone.
Yeah,
like not being allowed in. And whereas Sansa has had plenty of relationships, plenty of like things go wrong, so much stuff happened to her,
so much betrayal.
Yeah, but yet so many people have rescued her, like Theon and Tyrion, and like people have come to her aid and she's let them, and it's been. And this learning experience that Daenerys just hasn't had.
Yeah, I mean, my God, and that I think when Daenerys really started to see the passion for the North and the love of the Stark family and Winterfell was that whole thing with Theon of like, I've left my sister for the Iron Islands, but I want to fight for you, and just and even like later on when you see that Theon and Sansa are like are just sitting eating together, and it's just like, it's so.
Yes.
This was a very.
He rescued her, like from, and not only that, but like Theon volunteering to guard the three-eyed raven, and then like he's gonna die, guys. He's gonna die because he's like, this is like the Night King has tried to kill all of the three-eyed ravens. This is the thing, and like he was like, I will guard you, and it's like it's such a moment of sacrifice. Where like he's done a complete turnaround from that asshole.
Yeah, and he even said like I I stole this castle from you, now I want to fight for
Yes.
you, you know? And there's two other scenes I want to touch on before we get into our actual theories. So there's obviously the incredible, like, all the different parts of the scene when they are around the fire and they start drinking, and then like even before that, sorry, the one thing that was great is when the Night's Watch people arrive and you see like Jon Snow going in for the hug for this guy, and then that red bearded guy just like surprise hug, like so perfect.
He's the best.
Oh, he is so good. His story
about the giant,
giant, like,
killing the giant,
and it was such this obviously
God.
like, this is how I hit on women. Like I just like get so, and she's just the whole time like. And then she got knighted.
She got knighted. That was the best moment, I think, of the episode, where I was just crying.
Yeah.
That was, you literally saw on her face that this was, she's like, I don't need that. No, I don't need that. But
yeah,
they all
but
knew.
They all knew.
She knew. Like, it literally was just unspoken in the room.
Yeah.
Like, this is what needs to happen. And the applause at the end.
Oh,
like,
I'm literally tearing up.
I know, these men is standing up for her and respecting her and being like, no, you're one of us. Like,
yeah.
it was just the most beautiful moment. It was just
and that
the
just
best.
Pure smile.
And that made me upset even more, because I was like, oh my God, are they setting her up to
Yeah.
die? Like,
Yeah.
oh my God, because that's always the
now,
case.
to me, the scene that they of course saved to the very end that I was so nervous about, and this is where I was thinking it was gonna go, is the fact when finally Jon tells Daenerys the actual story, and then this is why I think the reason he was afraid to tell her was because they're technically family, and now he's
That's what it would seem to me on his side.
on his side, but for her side, it is 100% like,
she was like, "Oh God,
you're gonna take my throne from me."
Yeah, you're the next male heir.
Yeah,
and it was
and like, and that whole thing was, she was just like, "Oh, so your brother and your best friend? How like what a coincidence?" And you're like, "Bitch, what?"
Yeah.
Like
exactly.
Like,
it's like,
your role.
I feel like he's more worried that he's sleeping with his aunt, and you're more worried about the throne.
Yeah,
which they've been leading up to that through the whole entire episode. Of everything she said and everything she did was very much power hungry.
I still do. Okay, so theory time. She's pregnant. I think she's pregnant, I think that's going to be the biggest. Yep. And like, what if like, and again, good job Arya for getting some. Get you some, Arya. Do it. What if she's pregnant too? Like, that's just a fun little. I mean,
yeah, I don't think she is.
I don't think she is, but like that would be another like
I think
throne.
That was
technically
more for the audience. I think that was.
I
like,
know.
We know you guys want to see them together.
I know. Like, all right, we did it.
Before we start the next 4 episodes of all fighting, of death, of everyone you love dying.
Yeah. All right. So who do we think is dying in this next battle? I think Grey Worm is definitely dying.
Grey Worm's gonna die because they had that long thing of like, let's go and have a future on the beaches.
Let's go to the beaches.
You don't plan your future. I'll protect you.
I'll protect like my people. Oh, and it's so sweet and just.
Yeah. I think that's definitely gonna happen.
Theon's gonna die.
Theon will die. Yeah.
I don't want it, but I still think Brianna Tarth is not going to make it. I think so.
Honestly, I don't know if that many people are going to die next episode. We're going to get a couple huge hits, and then it'll just keep coming.
I don't think they're winning this battle. I think they're going to be there. I think the final battle is going to take place in King's Landing. I don't think it's happening here.
Okay.
And I think I still like the idea. I know this is very dark, but I mean, we're watching Game of Thrones. We like the dark stuff. I do think that Jaime is going to die, and Arya is going to wear his face to kill Cersei.
It's a good theory.
I want that. It might just be what I wish, but that's a thought that I have.
Okay.
Now, just going to throw it out there, because did you read the article I sent you about the whole thing of Bran actually being the Night King? So there's a couple articles that I read on it. One that I
makes sense.
Which makes sense, but also
if the Night King is always trying to kill him, the three-eyed ravens, it's because it's circular and they want to end the cycle.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
It does make sense. But as they said, like in that article that I had sent, and we can even like link it. But at the end, it's like, it also doesn't make sense for these reasons.
Yes.
But it is an interesting theory.
This is Game of Thrones.
It's Game of Thrones.
Anything can happen, really. Anything you want.
I'm so excited. So next week, the battle. And I think it's an hour-and-a-half episode. So
it's a big one.
Things are happening. Are any other theories you want to throw out there before we wrap up?
Right now, I'm going to hold on to them.
Are you holding on?
Little bit,
No, you're not going to just
as we go.
Okay. Well, those are my theories so far. Okay. We'll see how it goes. So, guys, thank you again for joining. We'll see you next week. We'll also have our Nerd Rage as well, our live stream. But for our Game of Theories, we'll see you next week.
See you later.